Before we get started with any cutting, the first step is to add some additional clearance. Looking through the exhaust port on the bottom, you'll see that there's a pinch rail in the way. Using a ball peen hammer and a set of pliers, we can easily hammer this out of the way and then pinch it closed. You might see some of the factory paint flake off. Don't worry too much, just apply some rust-inhibiting paint, and this will keep any further corrosion from happening. With the clearancing out of the way, we can start marking the area that we're going to cut. Using the supplied template, carefully align the edges with the dotted line along the factory cutout. Note that where the dotted line ends is where the factory cutout ends. Make sure the template lies flat across the fascia surface and tape this area up securely so that the bottom edge of the template lines up with the bottom edge of the fascia. With the primary reference points taken care of, we need to look to each of the small tabs and all the reference corners. Spend some time here to make sure everything lines up correctly so that the template lays smooth across the factory cutout. With a marker of contrasting color, follow the edge of the template all the way around the curve to the very bottom of the fascia. Be careful when removing the template, as we don't want to tear or damage it, as it must be reused for the other side. When you begin cutting, it's a good idea to start lower than the mark you actually need to cut to. This will allow you a little bit of room should you make any mistakes. In addition, this allows you some time to practice with your cutting tool. Obviously, we're in an area where if you make a mistake, it's not going to be detrimental to your cutout. With each progressive cut, we should be moving closer and closer to the line until we actually remove the line itself. Be patient. Take your time here. Removing smaller pieces, making smaller cuts, all this will help pay off in creating a much better cutout when you're finished. For the finishing touch, it's a good idea to follow the contour with a nice sharp blade to create a finished edge on both the inside and outside of your cutout. For the driver's side, we're going to use the same template we applied on the passenger side, but flipped over. The remainder steps of tracing and cutting are identical from side to side. With the exhaust cutouts done, it's now time to move on to installing the rest of the exhaust system. Starting with the muffler and tip assemblies, it's easiest to push them into the factory hangers and work your way forward. With the muffler and tip assemblies in place, it's time to make sure we've tightened all the bolts from the front of the exhaust system all the way to the back.